this one here. So, I wanted to give a true depiction of what healing is like because I am someone, which I'm not going to shy away from that topic. I have gone through trauma as a person, things that I've gone through in the past. We all have that. But I did kind of like a vlog video after I had like an interview, which I was just like kind of not so much venting, just like giving my reflection on the job market right now and the way things. Oh, that looks like a very burnt piece of bacon. And you know, I kind of came to a conclusion about some things. I'm gonna try to multitask while I hold my phone and do this at the same time. But I wanted to come on camera and basically give an idea of what it really does feel like to heal from trauma, tragedy, grief, loss. I haven't necessarily lost any, like in terms of people. I am someone who does grieve, like even strangers, like when I see people that have like passed away, like in the news, it hits me hard. And I also just started a show called The Handmaid's Tale, which I'm sure it's been around for a while. I'm going to put this over here. I'm getting my bacon. So I had made pancakes, they're over there. And then, so that was from yesterday. Now I'm making bacon because I'm starving. And I had cereal. I am a very, very big breakfast person. I love breakfast. I don't know why. I've always loved breakfast. Especially like chocolate chip pancakes with like maple syrup. Oh my goodness. And like home style, like I might make eggs, even though, see, this is my always pan. And I'm gonna have to like clean all this grease and stuff. So I'm gonna go like this really quickly. And turn that off. I do have all my windows open. It feels like I had the maintenance men came and they had to fix this unit up here. It was like, I love these things. These things are amazing. If you live in an apartment and you have one of these things, amazing. But I didn't know how they work. I didn't know it was like basically set up in a way that like, I didn't know. Like this whole time but they were telling me about if I ever sense like a leak or something, and I kind of felt like I did sense something like weird. So I kept my windows open. I've always been, I'm turned into the kind of person where I keep my windows open to get fresh air, right? But I wanted to come on camera and basically, and I'm not going to record myself sleeping, but I didn't really get great sleep last night. I'm contemplating whether I should continue watching Handmaid's Tale. It's just, I had a boss who, years ago, she told me, she's like, that was her favorite show, and I'm like, I just know that like, and I've seen in the news with like women wearing like the same outfit from that show with like the red cloaks and the bonnet, and I'm like, this is so interesting. I'm just like, about like women's rights and things like that. So, I did start it, but it is very heavy show, but I almost basically like binge watched it. I was up till like 2 a.m, and then I like crashed. I fell asleep, like in my clothes, my actual. So this is like the true depiction of. Let me close this window for a second. It's really bright. The true depiction of what trauma is like. So sometimes I'll like fall asleep, like I eat, and I'll like sit, eat watching TV, which I don't know how healthy that is, but I will do that. And then I'll sometimes fall asleep like in my clothes, and then it'll be like 2 a.m, and I'm like, crap, I need to like get up and then take a shower, wash my hair. I have naturally wavy hair. I do like to blow dry it straight just because it's like, I don't know, for me, I feel like when hair is styled and it's blow dried, it looks very coiffured, it looks very professional. And I have an interview coming up today as well, and I was like, do I want to do my hair? And I'm like, literally, I was toying back and forth with myself. I'm like, my true self, like, I have curly wavy hair, which is it's like a little tiny, teeny, tiny. So when you put my hair in a braid like that, what happens is the waves, the pattern of the braid creates like a natural wave pattern. So that's why I do my hair like that. But I was deciding, do I want to blow dry my hair? And there's a reason why I'm saying this, is because when you interview for a job, it's very much about your aesthetic and how you look. As much as we don't like to think that, it is, because the way you present yourself is how you view yourself, or the way you want the world to see you. Let's put it that way. And that's a first impression, right? So, but it just, for me, I have like no energy. I woke up and I was like, man, and I watched the show and I'm like, and then I felt sad because I'm like, oh God, could this happen in real life? Like, the women were basically used for sexual servitude and stewardship. Like, they were basically, as fertile women, they were being used to birth children, and it felt very much like kind of like a cult kind of thing. And I'm like, this is too much. I'm like, this is, I'm like, I prefer like my lighthearted shows that are, you know, happy and whatnot. Let me close this. But also too, I realized that I could have also had maybe a little. I do fight. I don't mind sharing this with the world and the internet. I don't think I have that many people. I think I have like one person subscribed to my thing so far, which is pretty amazing because I didn't expect anybody to in the beginning. So I'm like, maybe I'm going to help somebody in some capacity, which is good. I'm just trying to close my window a little bit. But yeah, I do realize, so if there is some kind of leak, I can't prove it. It's hard to prove. And I have air quality meters all around it. So since COVID happened, I have like these like little thingies, and this is blinking yellow. So you never know. If you ever sense something weird going on in your home, get an air. So I was just cooking. So basically, that's turning red because the smoke. But let me tell you, like carbon monoxide. There's so many mold. I never realized how, like, mold can have such a bad effect on the body. Like, literally, like, you can be super sick from, like, being exposed to mold. Like, there's literally something like mold toxicity. I'm like, I did not know this. I'm undoing my pancakes. They don't look so pretty right now. They're bare pancakes. But I'm gonna put some chocolate chips. I have my powdered sugar. I forgot where I got this, so it's my powdered sugar jar. So I have my powdered sugar. I'm gonna put all my little accoutrements here. I'm gonna get my orange juice and put my orange juice there. I like to get orange juice with like low acidity just because I realize I'm super sensitive to citric acid. I don't know if anybody else is, but for me, immediately anything with citric acid, it automatically, like, I get esophageal irritation. So I have to take like these little tablets sometimes to like, they're not necessarily Tums, it's called Nausine. There was a friend who's going to be someone I was going to date, but he had bought this for me. And this was a while back, several months ago when I was here in Vermont. But they do actually really help. And then I also got another one for stomach relief. So if you ever have stomach issues, take tablets. Just calcium carbonate. That's what it is, because it helps soak up like the acidity. So I'm just going to put this here. But I really wanted to come on camera because yesterday, after I had my interview with the company, it was for a remote role, like in a healthcare company. It's like an enrollment representative or something. And, you know, I kind of reflected on that, and I was very motivated. I was like, okay. And then, not to say that's the dark side of healing, but when you go through something that really shakes up your nervous system, it's so hard to get back on track. I mean, not to mention, like, if you're dealing with other health issues in your life, which I don't wish upon anybody. I wish everyone in the world was healthy. You know, to me, health is wealth. But, yeah, so it kind of just hit me after watching the show. I'm like, man, I didn't realize how much of an impact a certain TV show can have on you. Just like the subject matter, the content. And then also one of the actresses in the show, Alexis Bledel, she plays Rory Gilmore in Gilmore Girls. And I love Gilmore Girls. It's like one of my favorite shows growing up. To this day, I still have it on my Netflix queue because I'm just like, whenever I feel nostalgic and I'm like, oh, let me put on Gilmore Girls. But I need to, so I have my butter, syrup, I need my syrup. So maybe I'm not having, well, maybe I might have coffee after, but I'm having OJ and pancakes. So it's not coffee and cupcakes or coffee and cuppies, but one thing I will say about Vermont. So I didn't know that Ben & Jerry's, the flagship store, was here. And then also what's it called? It was Ben & Jerry's Cabot Creamery, and then also Vermont maple syrup. Vermont is known for its maple syrup, in Canada too, but like, see, like, that's pretty cool. And this one's from Canada. No, is it from Canada? No, it's just, yeah, because that looks like the Canadian, like, flag kind of leaf thing. This one is actually really good. There's another one, I forgot the name of it, that's even better. There's one called like Golden Blossom Honey something something, and it's really good. I'm going to figure out where I can prop my phone. My dog is very patiently waiting for bacon. I don't know if bacon is good for dogs, but I know she loves it. So, want bacon? Yummy! She looks tinier there. She's actually 60 pounds, like 55, 60 pounds, give or take. She sleeps very well. I'm jealous of her. I realize like dogs live rent free. They don't have to worry about anything. But they give us so much love. You know. I need my fork and knife. I'm so funny because sometimes I'm like, so some of this stuff is not mine. This is like, because when you get Furnish Finder, they literally furnish the whole, it's like a long-term VRBO basically. So I put my fork here, and then what else? Oh, knife. I'm gonna use this knife. These are really heavy. I forgot. I don't know if this is mine or theirs. But oh, I need my chocolate chips. The main ingredient. The whole time I'm like, what was I missing? So my fridge right now looks like it looks pretty organized. It's actually, it used to, in Virginia, I didn't have like anything stocked. Now I have my salad, I have my bottled water. I'm thinking about getting like a Brita water pitcher. I think that would be worthwhile because I keep getting all these bottles of water, and then I'm very big on recycling. So I have there's a recycling bin here. So I always, anytime there's something that I need to recycle, I will like literally ask my Alexa device, can I recycle this? So I'm using my Ghirardelli little chocolate chips. So I can't call this a cooking video. It's more just a vlog video, but I really just wanted to show. The sink looks decent now. These are all the dishes I just cleaned, but the sink looked like a hot mess before. I literally have Post-its on the wall that tell me to do the dishes because I'm the kind of person that, first of all, I don't have a dishwasher here, like a electrical, you know, automatic dishwasher. I have, I'm the dishwasher, so that's one thing I do miss is having a dishwasher. But before, this was piled up super high. I am in therapy. I do go to therapy. I don't mind sharing that. Therapy, I think, is great. BetterHelp therapy is really good. Brightside is not bad also. They're very, like, super clinical, very good team, I think, in my opinion. BetterHelp is also, I think, they have good people. Sometimes I've gotten, they've assigned not so great people to me, but they're pretty thorough, like in their, like, I want to say investigation, but their questionnaire to ask you things like about yourself, like whether you want someone who's like faith-based, whether you want someone who identifies as LGBTQ, whatever, or just certain preferences. Oh wait, I'm so silly. This whole time I'm like sitting here. I might get a separate plate. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna get a plate, and then we'll do that. Right? Yeah, let's do that. These are a lot thinner than I wanted them to be. They came out so thin. And I put baking powder, and you would think they get fluffier. They're supposed to, you know what it is? I think what happened was and these are not from scratch. These are from a Bisquick mix. But they came out really flat, and I wanted them to be fluffy. And I think I overdid it when I stirred the batter. Like it became too, like, way too thin. But anyways, I wanted to show the kind of the other side because I woke up and I was like, oh, like I basically had zero energy. I took a shower and I was like, I don't know, I was just feeling it. Like maybe it was because watching the show, literally that show, the subject matter is so heavy, and I'm like, it's so dystopian in the sense that like, it's the Twilight Zone. If that ever happened in this country, I don't know. It was very like cultish. It was like the women were subservient. They had all their rights were like, they couldn't even like, they were basically, I don't want to say sex objects. They were basically used, can I say that on YouTube? I don't know. But they were used for sexual servitude. Literally, that's what the description, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And the wife is there watching her husband, like, try to impregnate the handmaid. And I'm like, bro, this is crazy. I'm like, does this really happen in our society? I'm like, I hope not. You know, I don't know what people do, you know, because when you talk about cults and stuff, I don't know. But anyways, it did kind of affect me. It hit me a little bit in that sense because I was like, this is really, like, it's disturbing stuff. You cannot eat chocolate, Deborah. There's a chocolate, like, 3-second rule. If it falls on the floor, 3 seconds, I will eat it. I'm scattering my little chocolate chips. So I use Ghirardelli semi-sweet. I think Ghirardelli's, it's expensive though, I will say that. I know I should be getting store brand stuff. I don't know, because sometimes, so when I lived in Miami, we had Publix. Publix's store brand version was called Greenwise. I think in Whole Foods, it's something 360. I forgot what there's like 7th generation, and there's also something 360. So I'm gonna put this in the microwave, scattering them. Usually I like to put the chocolate chips like in the batter, like, but I found that like when I'm cooking them like in the pan, it's a lot harder. Like the when you flip them over, you get the chocolate on the spatula, and I'm like, no, it's very cumbersome. So I'm gonna do that. Let's do like 30 seconds. I think that'll be enough, I hope. But yeah, before I started recording, the dishes were piled in the sink, like yay high, like literally, like this one I have to dry. I had my dog's pee. So my dog she can go to the bathroom outside, but because she can, but she's also trained, because when I lived in Philadelphia, to go down, like I lived on I think the 23rd floor, right? I don't remember. No, was it the 23rd or the 11th? I don't remember. It was higher up, and you have to go down, go in the elevator, walk outside, go to the front desk, past the front desk, in the lobby, then you have to go past the security doors and whatever, the sliding doors, and then you have to go outside, and then you have to go to the doggy park. It was a whole thing. And so because of that, I told myself, I was like, I'm going to train her so she can go pee-pee and do her business inside. So she has this is called a potty buddy. They have it in different sizes. I found it, this was like 3 years ago, right? 2023, 2 years ago. And it's really great because it's washable, and I put paper towels around it. I need a larger one because now she pees outside of it, so it's kind of a little bit frustrating, but I love her to pieces, so I don't mind cleaning up her business. But my point is that this was a hot mess. This was full of pee and everything, and I was tired. And to motivate yourself to get up and like get your day started, especially if you're someone who's gone through a lot of ish and SHIT, no one prepares you for how hard it is to just be your own motivator and get your butt up to do things. Especially even if you didn't go through trauma, even as an adult, I think it's hard sometimes. I don't know if this is enough. I don't know. We'll make and yeah, and then my brain, I'm the kind of person that I do to-do lists. Like I bought this really cute notepad on Amazon, and I put but I end up doing this. I write my to-do lists I write it here, and then I write it in my notebook. I literally have a whole thing here, and then I have a to-do list on my phone, like a checklist with little bubbles that I check off. And I'm like, you would think that I would be able to get things done, but no, I end up procrastinating. And on my bowl, I'm gonna move my bowl. My cereal bowl. This is one of my favorite cereal bowls because it has little flowers on it and it's super cute. So I'm gonna put this over here. But yeah, so instead of coffee and cupcakes, it'll be pancakes and whatever. I don't know if I should put this here. You can kind of see it. I can't really see more of my. I'm placing my phone on the OJ. Can I go like this? Does that? It's like having breakfast. It's like, come have breakfast with me. So this is really good. It's a little bit overcooked, but it's really good. You want this? I'm not big on the fatty parts. I should have given that to her. On my butter. I know this is probably not the healthiest breakfast, but I don't know. It's nostalgic for me. I am kind of the epitome of that movie. There's 13 going on 30. So Jenna Rink, who's played by Jennifer Garner. So she's 13? And she's you can't wait to be 30. And it's bro, you get to 30 and you're it is so different than what you imagine it to be. And the responsibility and all this other stuff. And I think I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna put it in the microwave again. So I will walk over here. But yeah, no one prepares you for what it's like to be an adult. And that if you go through stuff that's traumatic and scary and scary, and it doesn't get like resolved or whatever, you're left with like, I don't know, you still can either like overcome it, or you're always going to be in the back of your mind like, oh, what if this and this happens and whatnot. But for me, it's just, this was one of those days. It seems like I'm together right now, but when I woke up, I was in my clothes from the previous night. It was like 3 a.m. I go on my Bumble dating app, and I write to the person. I don't like to write, I'll be honest, when I'm on Bumble, I don't like to write to too many people at one time. I may match with them, but then I don't like to like talk to multiple people, just because it's like, to me, that makes it like, I don't know, it seems a little bit more shallow. I will say that like, if you have several matches and you're trying to find the best, because you can, one thing I learned about dating, you can match, oh, this is hot, calienticos, oh my god. You can match with like a bunch of people, and then they may ghost you, they may never like write you like ever. I'm gonna put this here. Can I put this like this? Yeah. So they may never ever write you back, like ever. So I take it with a grain of salt. It's like basically dating apps are an introduction. But my point is, I did that. Like, I was still in my regular clothes, and then I took my shower. I need to put my powdered sugar. But it was just one of those days. I didn't get good sleep. And I know I need to like be disciplined, because the thing is, when you're an adult, no one's gonna like be a parent to you and be like, you need to get up at this time. You have to set your alarm at a certain time. You have to be your own like caretaker, basically. Yeah, and my dishes were piled up. I felt just blah. And then when I feel like blah, I don't want to do my hair. I want to do it simple, easy, and then especially, anyone with curly hair will understand. It's the most, I love it, and then also, I don't want to say I hate it, because there's some people who don't have any hair at all, and they suffer from alopecia. There you go. But I had to do, like, especially with curly wavy hair, and people who have curly wavy hair, they'll know this. You have to either get gel, or you get leave-in conditioner. Then you get I use Moroccan oil. I used another leave-in spray, and then I have to like run my fingers through it, and then I had to separate it, versus like, which is quicker when you think about it, in comparison to like blow drying your hair. But anyways, it's just, my point is that I woke up and I'm like, I didn't feel like my best self, I'll put it that way. And this is where investing in yourself comes in terms of like the clothes you wear, putting makeup on. I don't really have that much makeup on, I'll be honest. I don't have eyeliner on. I have like a little bit of mascara, and that's it. And it's easier that way. I don't have eyeshadow. I do stuff on my eyebrows, and that's it. But I'm not wearing blush. I don't have any lip balm on. But healing, let me tell you, I'm gonna highlight, I think healing, this is important. I said this in another video. If anyone ever rushes your healing, kindly, I'm gonna say cut them off, but maybe distance yourself, because, or not rush it. If they tell you like, oh, you need to get over it, or you need to move on from the past, never let anyone tell you that, because it's like every day is going to be different. Like one day you can be totally amazing, like everything's wonderful, everything's butterflies, roses, you're motivated, you're going to get up, you're going to do your thing, you get through your to-do list, and it's fine. And then the next day you're like, you can have a PTSD episode, you can have an anxiety attack, which I haven't had one of those in a while. I always feel weird, like when, you know, for the equal opportunity employer things at the very bottom, they're like, do you have a disability? And I'm like, and I suffered from anxiety, depression, PTSD from all this stuff that I've been through in the past few years. And I feel weird, like, I feel like I'm going to be judged if I disclose that and they'll say, yes, I have a disability. Like, my chances will be slimmer, you know, so I don't want to answer. Because if I put, no, I don't have a disability, then it's going to be like, I feel like I'm lying, and I don't lie. So, Yeah. Mm. I do drink straight for the bottle. I know that's weird. I also, when I eat, I do this weird thing. I kind of turn into a chipmunk, and I store my food in my face. I don't know why. And then, but Bonnie's very eagerly. She's waiting. She is waiting for what? It was good. She's waiting for bacon. I don't want to give her too much bacon because I gave her a lot yesterday and I think she had a little diarrhea. I will say I'm so happy because my dog was not feeling well a week. Like actually starting in January, she was not feeling well, end of January. And now she has an appetite, she's eating. Well, I actually was getting to the point because I was so nervous that she wasn't eating that I was like, oh my God. And she was tired all the time. She was coughing. I took her to the vet. They really didn't, they told me it was a fungal thing. Then the test came back negative for the fungal infection. Ended up with like a $3,000 bill from, and I don't have pet insurance. So like, and I knew that going into it because I was like, I wanted the best care for her. And I feel fortunate I was able to open this like credit card specifically for like vet wellness. But she ended up not having an infection. I'm not giving her any more of the, I think intuitively it's allergies because, you know, I think she does lick her paws a lot. She does scratch it herself. And I did read that if a dog has allergies, they're prone to developing lumps or bumps. I also think maybe if it is an infectious, like some infectious disease, she technically needed to be prescribed antibiotics. But the thing is, you can't go into a vet and be like, oh, I'm an average person. And you can't be like, oh, but I studied medicine for a little bit. Give me, you know, because I wrote the vet and I was like, oh, she probably needs clindamycin or doxycycline, right, which are antibiotics. Because at one point I did want to study to be, I was studying to be a physician assistant, just couldn't do it because chemistry was super hard. But I shadowed in a critical care unit with residents. Like I had the white coat and everything. I had my clipboard. They actually asked me like, oh, do you want to present one of the patients like in rounds? And I'm like, no, like I'm just here to watch and observe. But because of that, because of the background that I had, you know, working in medicine and stuff, you understand the course of action, the trajectory of some things. So I was like, okay, she's presenting with da 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 da. Like she didn't have shortness of breath, but she was panting, like her breathing was labored. So I knew she was in some form of respiratory distress. She's looking at me so intently because this is my food, right? That's my, and she's like waiting. This is how, and then, but she didn't have an appetite before and now she has an appetite. So I'm like, you know, right? She's like, please give me food, please. And one thing I learned is dogs cannot have chocolate at all. I will say if your dog or anyone in your family, human or whatever, my go-to thing for any inflammation, turmeric. Put it in their food, drink it as a tea for yourself. That stuff is like gold. It's like superfood. Right? What was I saying? So I feel like, healing. That's what I was saying. I feel like no day is similar to the last one. And if anyone tells you like move on, whatever, they're probably not a good influence to have around. Or you just you set boundaries and keep your distance because you want people that are gonna uplift you and encourage you. And one thing I realized is I did my best, like when I was working in the hospital, to always empathize with people as best as I could. You know, but I realized I can never speak to their experience because I'm not in their shoes. So I never would ever say, oh, I understand what you're going through. I can only imagine. I'm just like, maybe I say I can only imagine, or I feel for you, or something, or I'm here to support you. But there's a reason why I was saying this. I lost my train of thought for a second. It's healing. But no one really can truly understand your situation like except for you, right? The bacon did come out really good. And it's like it looks overly cooked. I love bacon. I know it's probably terrible for you. I know it's a pig. But I don't know. It just reminds me of original Pancake House. The only thing I'm missing to make this like a quintessential, like true traditional Pancake House thing would be like their whipped cream. They have the best whipped cream ever. Oh, you know what? I put maple syrup on the bacon because it be so yummy. Bacon in Spanish, it's jamón. It's awesome when you do job applications. They're like, "Are you bilingual?" And I'm like, "Does intermediate proficiency count? Does Spanglish count sometimes?" I tell myself I know restaurant Spanish and hospital Spanish. Any other Spanish, it's like, especially when the dialect comes in. Cubans, they talk so fast. Argentinians, instead of saying pollo, which is chicken, they say pollo. Instead of para llevar, to go, they say para llevar. Interesting. People have all these different dialects. Funny, now that I have food in my system, I'm more focused. It shows you, let me tell you, our bodies are so interesting. They literally speak to us. Like, our bodies can tell us, you know, how we're feeling and stuff. Here. Is that yummy? Was that tasty? Because literally I felt like I was so out of it. Like there's a term in psychology called disassociation, which is when you're not really wholly invested in the present moment and you're lost somewhere else. And so, but it usually doesn't happen to me. But it actually happened to me like an hour or two ago. For the first, like, that barely happens to me. I was sitting on the couch and I was just like, I was there, I was present, and I was petting my dog, but I wasn't really present. I was like staring off, like, it was very weird. Those are the moments where you know you need to like focus on self-care and take care of yourself. And screw what anyone else says. Like, that's why I feel like at work they should do, like, when you have a job, they should have self-care days, which I know Saturday and Sunday is the weekend. We need like a 3-day weekend. But then that means longer work days, like hours or whatever. Or you know what? Like when you're in Spain, from what, I don't know if they do this for real, but there's something from what I've heard that's called a siesta, where basically everyone, like the businesses close, like I don't know if it's in the afternoon or like at noon time, but they literally take a siesta where like all the businesses, everyone just for like an hour is just for in the middle of the day. And I'm like, you really, I wish there was a study, I'm sure there is a study, when you talk about the happiness index and like you compare different countries and like their lifestyle and way of living compared like the USA to like, I think Denmark and Finland I think were the top 2 in happiness scores. But you really wonder, you know. Chocolate on my face. Definitely need to figure out how to make these fluffier. When I did them last time, they were very fluffy. This time, not fluffy. And not that thin pancakes are bad, but like I prefer fluffy pancakes. That's what makes pancakes so good. But I'm just grateful I have a meal on the table. So, but yeah. Next time I need to record myself. Like, I know there's some people, they literally make a vlog when they wake up and they show themselves like no makeup on. They're like, oh, I'm stretching, and they brush their teeth. I'm like, I don't really, the way that they set the camera up and like, I don't really have time for that. Neither do I really know how. I've never done like production or whatever. Plus there's some moments that I want to keep for me. I don't want to like put cameras up all around this apartment or whatever and like be like, oh, I'm waking up, oh, I'm going to the bathroom, you know. There's some things like people don't need to see, but again, what I wanted my channel to be was going to be like me like as if you were here with me, and I don't know you, but let's say you got to know me and you were sitting across from me and we were having a conversation and we were eating. That's what I wanted to make it feel like. You know, because you see a lot of channels where people are cooking. You don't really see, I mean, sometimes maybe see them eating, but there's so many people out there that are single or alone and they don't really have anyone to talk to or reach out to. And it's like if someone could, you know, if I could be that kind of like, you know, someone sat there and watched me and they're like, hey, she's gonna go eat something, I want to sit there and eat with her, you know. It's kind of what I was going for, what I'm trying to go for. I flipped over. What? I realized, I'm like, watch me eat and then I choke and I'm like, what? She's so intense. She's so intense. She's like, she's ready. She's like, I want food. She's like, give me food. But yeah, that's kind of, no, I wanted to show that some days are going to be better than others. Even as people, even if you didn't go through trauma, life is hard. Like one day you might have a great day and the next day you might find out something really catastrophic happened, or you have a setback and you're like, oh man, how do I cope through that? There's a song by, I think it's the Zach Brown Band, and it's called Same Boat, and he's like, we're all in the same boat, fishing in the same hole, something, we got the same bro cards, wishing on the same stars. We've all been kicked and knocked around, but you can't keep a good man down. I don't know, but it's just, I love it because it's like, it's this idea that we're all, it sounds like High School Musical. I was going to say we're all in this together, but we all really are in it together when you think about it. We're all trying. And life is hard. You know? Like literally, if our society turns into like a Handmaid's Tale, I don't know what, I don't hope it never does. That would be very scary. It's very, the way they depict it, it's very misogynistic, super, like a very traditional, like patriarchal society, which we live in right now. We don't live in a matriarchal society, we live in patriarchy. Because you look about, if you look around in U.S. government, majority of the leaders, except for like the Senate, Congress, House of Representatives, all the presidents in the past have been men, right? And I mean, I don't know what the ratio would be of like women leaders to men leaders in the United States of America. That'd be an interesting thing to look into. But it just threw me for a loop, and I'm like, I hope that never happens, right? But yeah, not every day is going to be great, in the sense of things are going to be hard in your life. Some days you're going to not want to get out of bed. Some days you will want to get out of bed and you're going to be like, I'm going to go run a marathon. Like last night, I told myself, you know, I was like, you know what, maybe tomorrow morning I'll wake up, I'll put some yoga pants on, sports bra, even though here I really don't. In Miami, that was no, like, running around in, you know, tight leggings and like up to your like waist, that go like high-waisted leggings with like a sports bra, super normal if you see that in Miami. People are wearing like bikinis, you know. Here, I don't, that would not fly here. If I started running around in like a pink sports bra top with my belly sticking out a little bit and tight pants, I'm gonna definitely get some like looks. And maybe some will be like, woo, woo, and others will be like, what is she doing? You know, it's not like that here. Plus, it's like 30 something. Alexa, what's the temperature right now? 30 something degrees.
In St. Albans, BT, it's 48.
Oh no, it's 48. God, okay, it's 6 in the morning, or maybe it was like, no, that was like 2 in the morning or 3 in the morning. It was like 30 something degrees. Now it's 48, which is pretty decent. But yeah, my point is that I think, which I need to take this advice. I'm very good at giving advice sometimes to people. Not so great at taking it. which I take full accountability for. But like, I would say don't ever be so hard on yourself because you're trying. Like, there's no manual to life. Like, we do have like things like, oh, you can lead a virtuous life. The 10 Commandments in Christianity. There's the Torah. Like, you have the Bible. Like, there's different things that, like, resources to help you guide your way of living, right? Like yogic teachings, yogic principles and philosophies. I don't know what she's doing. I thought I heard something. What are you doing, baby? Oh, she sat down on the floor. But no one tells you, hey, this is what life is going to be like, and it's going to be really hard, and this, and you're going to have ups and downs. You have to do the best you can with what you have. But yeah, don't ever be too hard on yourself because, you know, sometimes I think in life, especially in society, I think this is globally, we have these like kind of milestones, right? You talk about, you know, taking your first steps, saying your first words, going on your first roller coaster, getting your driver's permit, you're restricted, then getting your actual driver's license, having sexual intercourse for the first time, going to the prom, going on a date for the first time is a big deal, right? Being kissed for the first time, riding in a go-kart one day, doing your first mud race or marathon. But more well-known ones are like traditionally like, yeah, when you have your first date, your first kiss, getting married, graduating college. If you look at it, like that's the traditional cookie cutter way of life. And your life may not look like that. Your life may be totally different. Like I remember one of my family members was telling me about a woman who, I think she's in Miami, she's in Florida, that she was a lawyer. She studied at UM. Her and her boyfriend went to UM. Both are lawyers. And now she does social media. She's a content creator. And she runs, I think, with her mom. Her mom has a restaurant. I don't know if it's Argentinian or Brazilian, but they run their own restaurant, a Spanish restaurant. And, you know, she's not in law school. I don't think she practices law anymore. But it just shows you that, like, your life can take a totally different path than what you intended it to be. And learning to go with the flow of that it's easier said than done. But you have to ride the wave, I guess. So if your life didn't turn out the way you thought it would, or you feel like you're not where, like everyone else around you is doing this and that, and be mindful, because a lot of the times that's the highlight reel. Meaning, like, people show you all the good parts. They're not going to show you them, you know, crying their eyes out, you know, or, you know, engaging in maybe lewd behavior, or battling an addiction, or I don't know, something, you know, they're going to show you all the pretty glamorous sides of it, not the, so don't, if you ever see things and you're like when I go on LinkedIn, or I try to tell myself, I'm like, Ashley, don't forget, that's the way they want to present themselves to the world, because we all of us, right, we need to be honest, we all want to be viewed in a positive light, right? When do we not want to be, like, you don't want someone going, oh, she looks so whatever, you know, you don't want to do that, or people don't want people to see themselves like that. It takes actually a lot of vulnerability. So, like, I give her so much credit. There's this singer there's this song that I hear all the time that people use on YouTube or Instagram, and it's called Messy by, her name's Lola Young. She's she's from the UK. And she performed at Coachella. And I know if anyone saw her, that, like, older generation, they would be like, she dressed so provocative. Like, she had a bikini top, and she had like this net mesh thing. Her hair was like, it looked like a mullet kind of. But I give her a lot of respect, because that takes a lot of balls, because she was authentically her, and she has some weight on her, and like, but she was her. And that's what real people look like. They don't look like sticks. They don't look like, like, it was nice to see that, like, her being her authentic self, And how many times do you see people that we try to put our best, like, especially on social media, you've seen people where they use filters and they pose a certain way to make sure the angle's like this and that. Like, I put my phone, I don't know how I look. I mean, I could see myself, but it might not be that flattering because the lighting is kind of like, I have, like, it looks like a shadow, and really up close I'm like, I might look like this, like, up close, but then when I go far away it looks like I have a shadow. But I'm not so much caring about how the way I look, but it's more the message that I want to impart to people, to help people. So my point is that maybe your life doesn't look like the way you thought it would, and society's gonna want to put you in a box. Society's gonna say you need to be married by this time, you need to have kids. I've seen videos of people who are like who are 24, 25, and they're married and they have a child that's 2 years old already, and I'm like, am I behind? And I'm like, no. I'm like, Ashley, that's their life, that's not your life. So don't compare yourself, to other people. That's why in my poem, the poem that I like, that I have, the Desiderata, he says, never compare yourself. There will always be people greater and lesser than yourself, and you never want to compare yourself to anybody, ever. Because that's just going to breed, like, inner turmoil and resentment and envy or whatever, Self-love, loving yourself, respecting your journey, whatever that looks like. And then let's say, like, okay, for example, let's say you aren't where you want to be. You always, first of all, when you wake up in the morning, we're given the gift of life. Your heart is beating, your brain is working, you're given the gift of life, right? You put your feet on the ground, you have a new day. That's why they say seize the day, right? Conquer the day. And mind you, like I said, I'm very good at giving advice. Taking it is harder, because I've been the person where I've sat and, like, I've slept in bed and I'm like, I literally sometimes I don't want to get out of bed because I'm so cozy. It has nothing to do with, like, depression or anything. It's like, I love just being, like, cooped up in the bed. Like, I love turning into, like, a little caterpillar and, like, covering myself to, like, where the blankets reach my face and cover, like, I'm just barely and, like, I just want to, like, cuddle up in, like, a little ball. Like, that's what I love. And sometimes I don't want to leave the bed, and I'm realistic, and I'm like, I'm not 14, I'm 33, and I need to, but like I said, I've also been through a lot of stuff, so my body's very tired, like, very, very tired. It's almost like sometimes my nervous system's like, I need you to stop and lie down and just do Shavasana, which is it's corpse pose, which I don't know why we call it corpse pose, but it'd be much better if we call it, like, starfish or something, but we don't. But my point in saying this is, take the time you need to heal from anything. Feel it to heal it, which I've mentioned in another video before. Give yourself grace, because people don't forget, when people put content out on the internet for entertainment. I'm not doing this for entertainment. I'm not like dance, I was like, should I do dance videos? I'm like, no. I'm like, there's so many people doing dance videos, and I don't want to be like, like, ding, 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 ow. Like, whatever they do. I don't know. The new dance style is like, bing, bam, boom, bam. I don't know. I was trained in ballet, in classical ballet and jazz, not the TikTok, like, bam, 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 bum, that whole shenanigans, which some people, like Charlie D'Amelio, she definitely started that trend, but now she's doing whatever she's doing. But she's actually a classically trained dancer, so I can't, like, knock her. But anyways, my point is give yourself grace. Don't feel bad if you're not where you want to be. And every day, some days, and it's okay, like, some days you may just want to, like, lie on the couch and be like a vegetable and just, like, vegetate and just, like, hang out. And maybe you just want to scroll through your phone. I mean, you don't want to do that forever. Like, I was at the point where I was just like, oh, this is a funny video, and I would laugh, and I'm like, wait, but I'm not really being productive. And what to motivate me, and this might sound very, like, saintly or whatever, but it's true, like, I remind myself that there are people who will never be able to do things that, that other people do, like eat a cookie. Like, I love eating cookies. I've always have. I'm like a cookie monster. They won't ever be able to do that. They won't ever be able to go into a bookstore or visit a museum or see a movie at a movie theater or make love to somebody or kiss somebody or go shopping or play a video game or go to a theme park or have a baby. Like all these things that are so amazing to do on this earth, some people will never be able to do again. So if you ever feeling you're like, I can't do this anymore, I want to give up, my life is horrible, there's a school, it's called CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. Do what you need to do to reframe your thinking to be more positive. And I know that's, I'm trying to say this because I've done it. Like I've lived it. I've been in the lows where like if I want to keep it real with people, I have a lot less than I had before in my bank account. I basically have almost lost which I don't want to like complain. My life savings, I've lost that because of people who were mean and things like that, and having to move to get away from bullies and whatnot. My health suffered. My finances, I had to spend money to figure out what was going on because I felt like the doctors really weren't being helpful. Psychiatry, psychology, all of that it costs a lot of money, and sometimes like insurance won't cover that. I had jobs that I had to leave and resign from because I needed to take personal leave because I was so distraught from what I went through. So you can definitely, my life completely did a whole 180. Like if I told you like everything that happened, which I'm not going to go into great detail about, but just my life basically turned upside down in 2021. And you just, when you hit rock bottom, I'm going to say I'm hitting rock bottom, and one thing I'm proud of myself, I'm very, very proud of myself, I've never turned to drugs, I've never turned to alcohol. If I drink a glass of wine, it's like with food. I never drink alone, like just to drink something. Like if I do, it'll be like orange juice, Snapple, Coca-Cola, water, café con leche, tea, whatever. Never once turned to drugs, alcohol, prostitution, sex. I told myself, I was like, oh, I can make an OnlyFans. I was like, no, never gonna do that. And I know there's women that do that. There's women that they're adult workers, they go strip, whatever. And there's actually like, I think YouTubers, I remember my mom once told me that there's like an actual girl who's like a stripper. She's a dancer, an exotic dancer. And just like there's male exotic dancers, just not my thing. I like more ballet dancing or belly dancing or flamenco or jazz than like doing like, me on a pole would be like watching, like, it would be embarrassing, I think. I wouldn't even know where to begin. So I commend people who, and pole dancing is actually something that they do as an exercise, like as a thing, at least in Miami. I don't know if they have it here, but in Miami, that was like an actual thing. You do a pole dancing class or a burlesque class. But yeah, like you can say like I've been through it, and almost in situations where I felt like nearly I could have lost my life. And I think a lot of people sat back and they again, if you don't have proof of it, people don't take you seriously. And there's a lot of like, people can cover things up to make it look like they didn't do something, and it's your word against someone else's and stuff like that, and it becomes kind of icky and sticky and murky. But granted, me moving from Miami to the most northern state, I think that kind of speaks to it. But I'm doing it. I'm here. Job hunting is hard, but there's also freelance work. There's things like you can do, like writing. I haven't really gone into. I do like to write. I haven't gone into writing. There are remote jobs like a data entry. There's survey spin. You can make money taking, not a lot, but at least it'll cover maybe one minimum payment. But I've had everything that I loved basically taken away from, like working with kids. Can't really, and I'm not going to go too much into detail because I didn't want to make a channel about, oh, this and this happened to me and people are so whatever, and I'm going to record, no, like I'm not going to do that. I wanted to be a beacon of hope for people, to be like, you can get through something really hard. and you have to find that. There's an artist, yoga artist, like instrumental. His name's East Forest. And if you're ever in doubt, you ever have problems, listen to his guided meditation for chaotic times. It is like golden. It is like, that guy, he's like, his words are like magic. It's like, I don't know what he does, but his piano, like after I listen to that, I feel like my body just went through like a whole like rejuvenation spa session. That's the best way to describe it. And he says, in times of chaos, in times of great change, the calling is to find an inner fortitude, right? Because you can look outward, you can go to a therapist, you can go whatever, and I said this before in another video, but you ultimately are going to be your own advocate. So as much as you may not want to get up in the morning, and maybe you've never been through trauma, like maybe you have it's a normal life, whatever, nothing's really going on that's like too like crazy or stressful, but you're kind of like, oh, I don't want to do life, like I'm bored, I don't want to go to work. First of all, don't say, oh, I have to go to work. Say you get to go to work. Instead of going, oh, I don't want to do the dishes. What I tell myself is, no, you get to do the dishes. And what someone told me, it was a therapist that said, if you don't want to do the dishes, take 10 minutes out of your day, like just make a timer and then do it incrementally. That's kind of what I do. And it worked. I actually did it. And I was like, this is work. I was like, this works, you know? So some therapists, they do know what they're talking about. You know, they don't just like let you talk, and they listen and they're like, okay, here's the advice I want to give you. And sometimes it's good advice. So, but yeah, what I really want to say is give yourself grace, have humility. Don't compare yourself to other people, because their life is not your life. And some people are going to be super talented. Some people are going to be like, they might be overnight sensations. Other people, you know, you may look and be like, oh, but they have it easier than me. No. So you also have to be, when I say be your own advocate, you have to have the willingness to get up and try and do it again. Like last night, like there's something and I was like, oh, I don't want to do this. And I was like, I don't want to get up. And I was like, no, you're going to do it. And because I didn't feel good, my lungs, and this is why I said, because the maintenance people, like I said, they just fixed I want to say rigged it, but I was going to say they rigged it some way, but they cleaned it. And I watched them do it, and I was like, I wanted to make sure, but I was sensing some weird kind of like it felt like a chemical. It was very cold, and I'm like, is that Freon? I'm like, is that refrigerant? And I'm like, whatever, you know. The day I ended up passed out, and I'm like, then we know. If I don't post any more videos, then you know something happened to me. You're like, okay, it was the AC was the culprit. But anyways, I'm joking, but like, you never know. Some people, they're crazy like that, and they will do things like that to undermine you or scare you and whatever. But anyways, I'm gonna have another bite of this. Have grace, have humility. Don't compare yourselves to other people. You'll be really miserable if you do so. I was gonna say stay in your lane. This is, why do I hear? I just realized, I know. Oh no, I did put the butter. I thought I didn't put the butter. And just try. No one's grading you. If you're gonna, I'm the kind of person where, growing up, I was very much a perfectionist. I was the kind of, I'll put it this way. I was so keen on being the good girl that I basically almost lived for my parents' approval. Like I never wanted to make a mistake. If my parents got upset with me, it was the end of the world. Like literally, it would be that, like I would lock myself in my room and I would be mortified. And that's way too much pressure I put on myself. That's because I put my parents on a pedestal and I looked at them as nearly perfect. My fault, right? Because then you develop a lot of shame and guilt growing up, and then you put this pressure on yourself as an adult to perform and to be, you know, to excel in a certain capacity. And then if you don't reach a certain milestone, you haven't achieved something, you can tend to be hard on yourself, right? I will say that growing up though, my parents were very, they didn't, like if I wanted to change careers, if I wasn't happy at a job, they were very like, they were advocates in the sense of like, yeah, they were a proponent of change. They weren't like, oh, you need to, you know, stick with one job and do this. But I will say just in life, things don't go the way you planned or that you wish them to, maybe it's for the better. Sometimes what you think, what's the quote? There's rejection is God's protection, and redirection. Or redirection is God's protection. So like what you think was you meant for you, like you wanted to do, may not have been meant for you. So, you know, or that relationship that you wanted to work out, it didn't work out. You have to let it be and let it lie, you know, because that's just the way life is. I do, since I am kind of spiritual, not kind of, I am really, I'm just like kind of, I'm really spiritual. I do believe that what's meant for you will find you. And our higher selves, which is like our super soul self, if anyone watched Oprah, she has this thing called Super Soul Sunday. Your super soul self is what I think will guide you in that direction. Now, when it comes to people trying to impede and impose, like what I went through, I literally went through something so harrowing that, like, I look back and I'm like, God, is this a joke? I was like, is this a joke? Is this a prank? Like, let me know when you wake me up from the nightmare. But things can be a nightmare or a blessing or a gift or a lesson depending on how you perceive it, right? Because where one person says, oh, that's adversity and it's tragedy, I look at it as a lesson and a blessing, right? Because I'm getting the opportunity to build my character. I'm getting the opportunity to learn these coping skills that I never would have learned before had I not gone through the adversity. And then you know, you grow up, and then, you know, some people, their timeline, they might be 50 and they win the Nobel Prize, or 60, or they might be 70 when they find the true love of their life. And let's say they were married at 40 or 30 and then they divorced, or someone passed away and then they're a widow, and then they meet their person from years later at, like, there's a really good story with that. There was a hairdresser in Miami, I'm not going to say her name. Her husband had, I think, passed away, and she was so devastated, and I forgot what happened. Someone saw the obituary, I think, about it, and it was her high school, I don't know, boyfriend or something like that, and he heard about it, and then he reached out to her, and then they reconnected, and now they're, you know, dating and love or whatever. So I don't know what their status is now, but that's kind of like what I mean by what's meant for you, it won't pass you. And sometimes what you think was for your detriment might actually be for your benefit, and sometimes things have to fall apart to come together. How many times you look at life and you're like, things fall apart, right? And the system breaks and things fall down or whatever, but it needed to, because if sometimes things don't fall apart, all that ickiness and poop, and like, not real poop, but like all the bad stuff that like was being like swept under the rug or whatever, or not being like handled up front, right? Had something not fallen apart, if that bad thing hadn't happened, then maybe the good thing, right? Because when you think about it, right, I know it sounds like a silly analogy, but like when the storm ends, the clouds part and the sun shines through, right, through a horrible thunderstorm, right? And when it rains, it pours, but that also helps the grass grow, right? Mind you, if you're in Miami and you have a hurricane, there's debris and like trees, and it looks horrible. And I'm not condoning like, oh yay, hurricanes. No, but I mean like an example, the wildfires. I'm hoping in LA, I'm not really, I don't know too much about LA. I went there once with family years ago. It was San Francisco, the Wharf, and then we went to Carmel, Sausalito, San Francisco, Beverly Hills, I don't remember what else, but yeah, and Santa Monica. But I remember, like, with the wildfires that happened, that's so devastating to think people lost their homes. And that's why I go, sometimes I really can't complain, because there's people who literally don't have a home. Like everything, all their memories, their keepsakes, their money. Maybe people had money stowed away. Maybe they had assets, jewelry, antiques, diamonds, silver, whatever, you know, coins, memorable things, right? I'm hoping that when they rebuild the city, it'll be even better than it was before. And maybe, you never know, like through tragedy, you can foster a sense of community. People, like when I saw that people, like, and I donated to that with the wildfires when that happened, because I felt horrible. Mind you, I was unemployed. I'm still unemployed. but I had enough money. I was like, I'm gonna give $1 because that dollar may pay for a bottled water that someone may need to get the soot out of their lungs because they were so, or like overwhelmed, or maybe bought infant formula for a baby that needed it, or a pacifier or whatever. So sometimes through tragedy and adversity there can be beauty and blessings. I know that sounds crazy to think, but that's how I like to think. That's how my mind operates. But really, like I said, what I truly came on here is because I was like, I wanted to show a true of how each day is different. Like no day is the same, and some days are going to be harder than others, and you're going to not want to get out of bed, and you're going to feel like shit, and you may think the world's against you, but they're really not. It's just maybe you against you, and it's because the devil. Let me tell you, the devil. I don't believe like there's an actual an actual devil that's like with the whole. I mean, maybe, who knows? At this point, I don't know. I had a really weird experience back when I was living at home in Miami, and I could have sworn I like woke up in the middle of the night and there was this huge like shadowy fit. It was weird, very weird. But yeah, that was a scary experience. I forgot. I just remembered what that was like, and I was like, it was really scary. But that's to say, the devil, demons, negativity can disguise itself in so many ways. It could disguise itself as paranoia. It could disguise itself as shame, guilt, doubt, inattentiveness. There's a lot of different things, right? Ridicule, gossip. It doesn't have to be an actual person. It could be a feeling, an emotion. All that stuff can play on your psyche, and it's devilish, right? Or other people, maybe, other people try to be devilish towards you. Do your best to try to find the silver lining and find grace and humility in that experience. And when you see other people that, and you're going to see people. You're going to see people getting promotions. You're going to see people moving to different places in different cities, and that's not your timeline. In fact, when you see that, celebrate it. Be like, wow, they worked really hard to get where they are. Some of it you can tell. I will be honest, I've seen people where it seems like they're almost seeking attention, and they want to be like, yay, I got promoted, yay me, praise me, right? Because someone who's truly satisfied in themselves, they don't need to publicize it to people. They know in themselves. They don't need to be like, yes, praise me, give me attention for now, whatever, working 8 years no, just you say yay, you keep it in your inner circle. But some people need that. Some people like to be like, hey, I'm not really into being like too showy or ostentatious. But some people need that. My point is, just don't compare yourselves to others, because that's not your storyline. That's not your timeline. Like, my story is not going to be the same as yours. And I feel like I hear something in my but I just had to check something else. I was like, I thought I was hearing something banging. And yeah, that's my advice. And don't feel bad if you have really poopy days. Don't feel bad like if you literally want to just get under the covers and you want to watch reruns of, I was going to say like How I Met Your Mother, or like what's another, I don't know. I don't know, like just whatever your favorite TV show is that brings you joy or whatever. I haven't watched How I Met Your Mother in like forever. It's a really funny show, actually. Oh no! Bon. Bacon fell on the floor. Bon! Give her the bacon. I'm sorry. A little piece of bacon fell on the floor, which I'm probably gonna give her this piece too. See, this is what I mean, the fatty parts. I'm not really, this stuff, I'm not, no. That's why if I ever eat a steak, I do filet mignon, or I'll do a New York strip, because like a prime rib or a ribeye has too much marbleization and it has too much fat. it's too marbleized, which means it's too fatty. Anyways, I got sidetracked. But have grace, give yourself grace, forgive yourself for if like, let's say you made a mistake in the past and maybe you stayed at a job too long and you were ready to leave. Maybe I don't know, maybe you stayed in a relationship too long and you were abused, you experienced narcissistic abuse, and you stayed together, you stayed with someone for like your kids, or you just stayed together because you didn't want to make it look bad for your family and you didn't want to get divorced. Do yourself a favor, be your own advocate. No one's going to be your champion, your best champion except you, because you know yourself, right? Better than anyone else. And if your storyline doesn't fit someone else's box or whatever, who cares? I swear I hear like, it's not Bonnie. Who cares, you know? Life is not going to always turn out the way that we planned it to, and sometimes things that are like that you wanted to happen, like what's meant for you will find you, is what I'm trying to say. So I hope that helps somebody, and I highly recommend, if you're ever not to say, I don't want to be like, oh, food solves problems or whatever, but I will say that like cooking really helped me a lot, and I hated cooking. Like, I sucked at it, and then I told myself, I was like, I want to do a recipe and I want to learn this and that, and I did, and I love it now. Cooking is like therapy for me. Just like music, just like dance. And for people with chronic conditions, let's say you have fibromyalgia, let's say you have multiple sclerosis, let's say you have something that kind of would be otherwise paralyzing or debilitating, that would inhibit or prohibit you from doing activities that other people would feel they do with ease. Again, give yourself grace. Also, listen to your body. I'm also big on Reiki. I think, to me, we all have the ability to kind of heal ourselves. Our bodies are pretty miraculous. And it's amazing, the intention, if you have your hands and if you imagine love and you imagine healing energy coming and emitting from your hands, and you give that love back to yourself, it's amazing. It's like magical, basically. And also listening to music, yoga, stuff like that, breathing, meditation. It's amazing how your mindset can change from being like a victim, like, oh, I don't want to do this, to like, no, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get it done. Which makes me think, like, I'm glad, like, right now, I look at my dishes and I'm like, I don't have to do any dishes. I'm like, that's so awesome. I don't have to do any dishes at all. Like, it's all done. Except I have to, like, clean this situation up here, and I don't really know, you know, but I do have my to-do list, which I'm going to get through. And I also, oh crap, I just realized, no, okay, I'm fine. I have a phone call with someone soon. I swear to God, it sounded like something was banging. But yeah, give yourself grace, give yourself humility, and don't judge yourself or misjudge yourself if your life didn't turn out the way that you wanted to, or things didn't go the way you planned. Maybe that was for a reason, you know? Maybe what you thought was the path that was meant for you is not, and it was something else entirely. Like, I never thought, you wouldn't catch me dead 5 or 10 years ago ever recording myself or posting anything on the internet. But I told myself, I was like, after going through what I went through, I was like, what if someone could benefit from me telling my story and what happened to me and showing, yeah. And I'm sure that there's people, let's say if someone, I don't have my name, like my personal name on this YouTube channel, but if someone wanted to, maybe, I don't know. I don't think there is, so I don't know, maybe there is. I would hope not. And even if they did, they'd look at me and they'd go, oh my God, she went through all that stuff and she came out alive, you know? And that's pretty miraculous to me. So, yeah. But I think those are words coming from me to you, if whoever you are, if you're watching. I swear to God, I hear like, I don't know what it is. It's like a banging. It sounds like 2 crates bumping together. But, yeah. that's my advice, I think, for today. And I hope that helps somebody. Oh, you know what? It's this. I think it's this. I think it was the washing now. But I'm gonna clean up my wonderful. This is the kitchen. This is the way it looks now, and you know, I'm not the type of person, like I said, I'm not gonna like film me like waking up like, oh, let me go film myself putting makeup on and getting undressed and in the shower. I'm not gonna do that. Like, there's no need for me people to, like, I'd rather just, you know, be honest and show what, you know, I'm going through. I think, you know what, I hear it. I don't know. Anyways, I digress. So yeah, stress less, God bless, that's what Trey Kennedy has on his, as this is slogan. And yeah, let each day be the way it is. And each day, one thing, it's not, it sounds cliche, but each day is a new day when you think about it. The fact that you get to wake up and you get to do it again, and if you're like in a deep depression, you're like, oh, but I don't want to get up. Oh, you know what? Is it this thing? Or maybe it's, I don't know. Be happy that you get to do it. You get a chance every single day to start over, every day. And if you're tired, drink some caffeine. Make sure you take your multivitamins. Make sure you're getting electrolytes. Make sure you're staying hydrated. Also do a gratitude journal. I didn't do my gratitude journal last night, but I definitely recommend it because I think it gives you perspective, because it reminds you of like to look at the things that you have. It basically trains your brain to have an abundance mindset, like a growth mindset versus like a scarcity mindset. So yeah, I hope that helps. And if you do watch this, thank you for watching. You stayed for an hour and 16 minutes to watch me eat breakfast and talk about healing and how each day is not like the other, and that's okay, right? And I didn't really want this, like, I don't have a fancy like GoPro camera. I'm using my iPhone, and I wanted it to be like that because I want it to be real and authentic. And I don't really have that much makeup on. I'm kind of going all natural. And oh, you know what? I think it is. Maybe they're doing oh, that's what it is. That's what the noise is. They're fixing a roof and the thing in the house. So yeah, that's it. That's all I wanted to say. But thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day. And don't be so hard on yourself. I might call this "Don't Be So Hard on Yourself" or "Healing is Not Linear" vlog. I don't know. We'll see. Or pancakes and healing. I don't know. I'll come up with some creative title line. And yeah. Oh, happy Friday, because it's Friday. I forgot. It's Friday. Happy Friday. Beep.